I would not be so remiss as to not give recognition to the many veterans in this country who have sacrificed and have given up their time and many of them their lives to make sure that we are free. But I would be remiss if I didn't give some recognition to this great facility called the VECTR Center, located here in Warner Robins. And you know, I'm more than a little humble to be able to kind of give the much deserved and much needed recognition to this center and to the individual that's in charge of this center in the person of Colonel?
Retired.
That's okay, but it's still Colonel.
I guess it is.
Yeah. Patricia Ross, who's the executive director of this center. This is a call to action.
A call to action.
I'm your host, Alex Haversham, having with me today at the VECTR Center, right close to Veterans Day,
Yes.
Colonel Patricia Ross, retired director of the VECTR. Tell us a little bit about yourself first.
About myself. I am a military brat. My dad served 23 years in the Air Force. My grandfather was a World War II veteran in the Army. And then I joined ROTC when I was in college.
Oh, wow.
So I went straight into the service myself, graduated from university, and then went straight into active Air Force service.
Wow.
Did that for 25 years, and then spent the last 4 of those 25 years here at Robins Air Force Base.
Outstanding. You must have joined when you were 12.
Thank you, sir. I'll take it. If you add all that up, you can probably figure out my real age.
Yeah. Well, let's talk some. I mean, I won't call it a secret, but I think it's important that everybody knows about this center, particularly veterans, and particularly individuals who have veteran family members who are in need of some kind of service to enhance their lives, to educate themselves, to gain some kind of skill, along with other kind of programs and initiatives that you all have here at the VECTR Center. So talk a little about this center.
Okay, well, the center itself, which was actually envisioned by Central Georgia Technical College, and we do fall under the technical college system now, is a one-stop shop for military veterans and their families. So that's important. Not
And
everybody serves their families.
Yes.
We serve their families. So we do education, we help with employment, we help them with entrepreneurial skills. So if they want to start or grow a small business, we also connect them to community resources. The state didn't make us a social service agency, but we realized there are a lot of veterans and their families that come to us that have some very fundamental needs. And they're not quite able to go to school or to get a job, and those have to be met first.
Right.
So we connect to a bunch of partner agencies to help those individuals. And then that's also through United Way and Mission United as a partner in that. But then also what makes us very special and very unique, and the only one in the nation, is we have accelerated training programs. We've taken a program that typically is 18 to 24 months. It's through Central Georgia Tech, so they get college credit. We do it in 15 weeks, and at the end of that, they have employable skills, because we talked to employers before we built this curriculum, where they can go into commercial truck driving is one of our programs. We've got heating, ventilation, and air conditioning is a brand new program we just started. We have welding, and then Cisco networking. And the good news is the state thought so much of what we were doing for veterans that about a year and a half in this last legislative cycle, they gave us additional money, and we're going to grow by 3 more industrial labs so we can offer even more of those high demand programs.
Well, how successful has it been? You know, what kind of impact has it had, and how has it been received by those individuals that you're serving?
It's been unbelievable. So I've only been out of the service for 4 years, and there was never anything like this. And we get that constantly from folks that walk into this center saying, I wish something had been like this as I was leaving the service. And now we're trying to catch those as they transition the military too. But right now, a good portion of our folks have been veterans for a while, whether it's a couple of years, whether it's 10 or 20 years.
Wow.
But there's never been a place that can help them navigate what's next. When you go into the military at 18 years old or 22 years old, whatever the age is, the military gives you a structure. They tell you where to be and what to do and what education to take. I mean, all of that is encased in that military base, and you have somebody that's your boss and your supervisor and your first sergeant that helps you along the way. And when you get out, you have all these options and you don't know where to go. You don't know who's truly trying to help you and who's not. And a lot of our veterans, because of that, especially if they try some way and they can't find what they need easily, they give up. And when they give up, that causes all sorts of other problems. And so we're here to catch them on the other end, to be that community for them, like they had in the military, just now as a veteran for them, again, and their families, but then to get them those skills or that job that will help them be successful post-military service.
I think it's important what you said as it relates to taking the veterans where they are, wherever that is.
Yes, sir.
And then I know that a lot of people, and I'm sure that this program and these services will contribute to a reduction in homelessness and suicide and things of that nature. So just talk about a little bit about how you feel that these programs are impacting moving these veterans in the right direction because of the resources that are offered.
Well, I'll talk specifically about those two things you just mentioned.
Okay.
So I get to come to work every day and go home every day knowing that I've helped change lives. And so this is the most fulfilling job I think anybody could ever have. We've actually had 2 veterans that were saved from committing suicide. Our community resource resiliency officer had them on the phone checking in on them, and they said, you know, I'm done. I've decided that this is it, I'm going to take my life. And she kept them on the phone, called 911, made sure they were okay. And then both of those individuals are successful now. You know, they hit a bad patch, we got them back up, lifted them up with all of the services we have, and they're both successful. Right now, we have 2 homeless men who are living at the Salvation Army shelter going through our air conditioning program. The Salvation Army brings them here every day, but they are getting an in-demand skill. Granted, they are doing phenomenally well. They have a 99 and a 97 average. They are. And so we've worked with the Salvation Army to keep them there through the duration of this training program, but at the end of it, both of them we've worked housing for, so they'll have housing. And then one of the individuals actually tomorrow at a ceremony at Geico will be given a car, so he has transportation. Wow. Because that has been the big issue. Phenomenal person, but didn't have transportation to hold down a full-time job. And so now Geico is gifting him with a vehicle. And other partners, other community partners have come alongside us to help pay for the insurance for 6 months, because we know he's not going to get a check for a little while. Come alongside to pay the tax, title, and license. And so that's how you know you're making a difference.
Talk about the importance of other community entities, you know, because you've just acknowledged that you can't do it by yourself. You've got to have partners and other individuals, organizations, and companies to provide support. Just kind of give them some recognition.
Yeah, I mean, we couldn't do it without our partner organizations. So we have Georgia Department of Veteran Services here on site, Georgia Department of Labor, our Workforce Board, Mission United. But then when we call out to the community, so we knew transportation was the biggest issue for this individual, and we've never solved that yet. I mean, where do you go around finding somebody that's going to give you a car? Right. But we had worked with Geico. In fact, an individual that's a former Marine, very senior in there, and we said, have y'all ever thought about it? He's like, I think I can make this happen. But then we needed other resources because, again, the state funds us for our operations, which is primarily education and training, but not for anything above that. So we have to go and look to our community partners. Give you a great example, Flint Energies. Their foundation came alongside and just paid the tax title and license for this individual's vehicle. I mean, so it's without help from people that understand our mission, want to do what's right. And you said it best, these men and women who have voluntarily chosen to potentially give their lives, but in support of us and our nation, do whatever our nation has asked of them. I mean, can't we on this end, when they struggle, help them? And it's not like we're giving them a handout. We're literally giving them a hand up and helping them start a new life. You know, because life happens. I mean, they all say we're 1 or 2 paychecks away from being homeless ourselves, and it has. In these 2 individuals' cases, life happened. And so we're trying to help them get back that life.
Right. Well, I mean, I'm just overwhelmed.
Me too.
With joy and positive feelings about what you're doing. We're going to take a break. This is a call to action.
The call to action.
I'm your host, Alex Havish. I'm interviewing Colonel retired Patricia Ross of the VECTR Center. We'll be right back.
As you transition out of your military career, there are a number of decisions to be made, including where to live, choosing the right career path, and what steps to take to receive the education, job training, and any additional help you may need.
You spend 20 years in uniform, then it's time to get back to civilian life. It was a little difficult for me to lay that chapter of my life down and move on because I'd done it for so long. I'm sure a lot of vets can understand that.
The state of Georgia has made creating these opportunities and support for our veterans a top priority. From the diverse culture, landscape, and top-ranked education and training programs, to the low cost of living and affordable housing that makes raising a family easy, Georgia offers a quality of life that your service to our country has earned.
I came to Georgia with the U.S. Air Force. So I was assigned here for 2 assignments on Robins Air Force Base. And to be honest, this was the only place that felt like home.
Within a few hours' drive, you'll find Atlanta's major league sports teams, music, arts and cuisine, quaint towns among the scenic ranges of the Blue Ridge Mountains, and relaxing coastal cities along the Atlantic.
You know, the quality of life here is absolutely amazing.
Our workforce employs more than 6 million people, and whether it's a Fortune 500 company or a small business, employers across the state know the value of hiring servicemen and women who bring their discipline, skill, and integrity to the civilian workforce.
Georgia has what's called a high-demand career list. Simply what that means is that there are more job opportunities out there in these fields than there are people to fill those jobs.
Through a number of nationally recognized statewide programs, Georgia works to train, educate, and connect our veterans who seek civilian careers with the right employers that recognize the benefits of hiring those with military training and experience. This effort has led to the creation of over 275,000 jobs for veterans in a wide range of industries, including advanced manufacturing, agribusiness, IT, logistics, defense, automotive, film, and aerospace.
We need people who are adaptable, who are creative, and who are resilient. And I can't think of a better population of people who demonstrate that than our military.
It's a smart business decision to hire veterans. The way that they're able to grow and be, just have a certain level of grit.
Aside from the beautiful landscape, thriving economy, and overall quality of life, our education system has made it a focus to help you match your skills with the right career. Georgia is home to 26 higher education institutions and 22 technical colleges. A main feature of the technical college system of Georgia is the nation's #1 workforce training program, Georgia Quick Start. Designed with veterans like you in mind, this program has created thousands of jobs within Georgia's most sought-after industries.
Georgia itself has amazing benefits. When you talk about the HOPE grant, the HOPE career grant, you talk about the HOPE scholarship for your high schooler students, you talk about the state workforce board and the educational benefits that are available to veterans through that program as well. Those are amazing benefits.
I wish a facility like this had been built 20 years ago. They've really been a lifeline for me personally, for job placement, resources, maybe financial, when times are tough. I owe the VECTR Center a great deal of gratitude.
Making the transition from military service to civilian life can be a challenge, but the state of Georgia is here to help. Use the resources, funding, and programs we've put into place to kickstart and develop a fulfilling career and an enjoyable life, made possible by the servicemen and women like you who have served our nation with such honor. We thank you for your service and would be proud to have you call Georgia home.
I'm back. I'm more than a little happy to be interviewing Colonel Patricia Ross, and I'm more than a little happy to be sitting at the VECTR Center here in Warner Robins, which is specifically designed to assist veterans in their endeavor to have a meaningful and a fulfilling life. So I just think that's very, very important. Now, I understand you all had a groundbreaking today.
We did.
Yeah.
So across the street, the city of Warner Robins had partnered with another firm to actually create a mixed-use housing project. It'll be 90 apartments that will be available for individuals of all incomes. But the best part in working with this developer for the last 2 years, one, our primary contact, he's an Air Force vet. So we automatically had that connection, and he got what we were trying to do. But they have committed to giving us 5 apartments.
Wow.
So that veterans who are coming here for those 15-week programs from somewhere other than our immediate community
You mean
area.
they come from more than just Central Georgia?
Oh, absolutely. We have them from all over the state. We have a statewide mission.
Wow.
So if they're active duty and are transitioning, Robins Air Force Base signed an MOU with us, and we can use one of their dorms. So they stay for free in the dorm. But as a veteran, we needed a place to be able to house them short-term for a program, and that's what this new development
So
will
even
do.
if they are active duty, can they begin the process of trying to make a determination as it relates to what direction they're going to take with their lives?
Yes, sir. So
Wow.
a few years back, under the Veterans to Work Act, they're actually allowing military members in their last 6 months on duty to transition into training and education programs so that when they take off that uniform, they actually can get a job. And so we've just been approved by the Army in their first ever statewide enterprise agreement to bring in folks from Fort Gordon, Fort Stewart, from Fort Benning and Hunter Army Airfield. And so starting January, we will have actually active duty folks in that last little bit of time in service coming here for training and then working to get them employed.
Now, can you take more veterans? Because what I'm hopeful of, there has to be literally thousands of veterans out there who need support, who think that all hope is gone. So we want to be sure that they become familiar with this facility and what you are doing. Can you take a couple more?
Sure, we can always take more. That's what we're here for. And that's been our biggest challenge. So while we're located here in Middle Georgia, we serve the entire state. So we can help with community resources, help connect to education and training, even if you don't physically come here. You can get to us remotely.
Wow.
So
And I'm more than a little happy to be here today at the VECTR Center in Warner Robins, which really is a phenomenal facility designed to support our veterans. And I have with me Mr. Gary Lee, who's in charge of development.
Yes.
All kinds of development for the city of Warner Robins. But it's particularly important because today there's a groundbreaking, at this particular center. And tell us a little bit about yourself and then talk about this groundbreaking.
Yes. This is, my name is Gary Lee. I'm the Director of Economic Development for the City of Warner Robins. And this is home for me. My family has been here since 1804. We've seen this place grow and change over the years. And so it's an honor and a pleasure to be here sitting with Mr. Haversham. So when I came back from college and came back and moved back home, the first stop that I made was with Mr. Haversham. And he has been one of those instrumental people in my life that have guided me and mentored, and I have mentored and have moved me down the road. The groundbreaking ceremony that we had today is a multifamily housing complex that will also house some of the veterans that come here for school. The military pays for their schooling, but they cannot pay for their housing. And so what we did was, in the process of building this for the families around the city of Warner Robins, we allotted a certain amount of rooms that will be utilized free of charge for veterans that are coming in. That is how important that our veterans are so much of an important part of our community. So this is something that the city of Warner Robins have partnered with Penrose Properties to give back to the community.
That's outstanding. And I want to thank you for all of your involvement, and I really, as a community supporter, because I know that you are very, very attuned to the veterans and what they mean to not only this community. And I want to acknowledge the individuals behind the building of this center. It's very unique, and because there are so many support mechanisms, which I will talk to the director about. But I want to thank you for what you do.
Yes, sir.
I want to thank you for your support. You know, I can tell by looking in your eyes that you support this center.
Absolutely.
And the veterans in this community. And, you in economic development, I am sure that this center plays an important role in economic development in this community, because you're bringing people in.
Absolutely.
Bringing veterans in.
Absolutely.
To be educated. So I appreciate everything you do, and I look forward to coming out here many more times. But we want to say Happy Veterans Day. We're going to say it together.
Happy Veterans Day
to all of the veterans in the community.
Thank you so much.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
So this is our core value wall. It brings in all the core values from all 5 branches of the service, and it does a couple of things. For those of us that have been out of the military for a while, it reorients us to those values that we swore to and are actually a part of who we are. But more importantly, when we bring employers into this building, all we have to say is, this is the resume of what you get when you hire a veteran. You can teach them the technical skills, but it's much harder to teach somebody duty, honor, integrity, selfless service. And in fact, integrity we thought was so important. I'm from the Air Force, so integrity first, that it was foundational to all branches of the service. We also decided to make it foundational to the building. And so if you look at what we call our main street, it goes from the front door all the way to the back. And the darker terrazzo tile is Morse code for the word integrity. So we can say we're also built as an organization, as a facility, as a building on integrity. This is one of our accelerated classrooms, but we call it our Nova classroom. It is a learning environment where you can work in units or teams, which is a lot of how our military like to work. But in addition, this is also one of our BlendFlex classrooms. What that means is through Central Georgia Tech or another one of our schools, we actually can port in their instruction. Somebody can take classes here. We've got an instructional aide who's right across the hallway. So they take classes here, or they can stream them live, or they can even watch them while they're at home. I'll give you a good example. So we ended up having an innovation lab from Macon that was grant funded to teach FAA certification for drones, for small unmanned aerial system drones, so the FAA 107 certification. So they came in here, used this lab, but we were set up because one of the individuals that had been going to the course had been deployed to Malaysia. So we had it so that he could actually stream in and view the class live. So that's how this system works. And a collaborative classroom kind of works for a variety of different reasons and ways, but we've taught all sorts of things in here, and it's just a very cool setup as well. Well, the flexibility is absolutely key. So through Central Georgia Tech, who does the Blend Flex program, they've been able to make classes that couldn't have made because they only had a few students. They've been able to reach individuals in more rural Georgia. And so we're able to do that too with our veterans that can come either physically or do it remotely. So it's an advantage to anybody that may not be able to come to a classroom or may want to come to a classroom and have some extra instruction here.
Service were you in?
My name is James Harris. I was in the Army for 5 years back in the 90s. And when I left, I thought, I was going on with my life, and then I needed the veteran status, and it's like the best investment I'd made. I didn't even realize it at the time, but you get the great training and you get to be part of one of the best clubs in the world.
So several years later,
Over 20 years
I know
later.
you wish you had found out about this much earlier, but several years later, you were able to find out about these resources and take advantage of it.
Yes, sir. And it's been the best thing. The story is almost unbelievable, really. So yeah, it's been great for me.
My name is Jeremy Steen, United States Marine Corps. Thank you, sir. But I mean, when I got here, I hadn't been in school in it's been almost 15 years, and to be back in it, well, one, it's been made a lot easier as far as the learning side of it goes, and it's not just the learning part of it. In addition to that, you got to get showed some of the skills you need to actually go from point A to point B. So it's kind of a twofold process. You get the education side, but at the same time, you get the personal side, so you can actually interact better with your average person you come into contact with day in day. You're not just walking around a bunch of guys in uniform getting ready to do whatever now.
Wow.
But I mean, all in all, it's a great experience, and they really do step up and help those that really need it, especially as far as us vets go. They are a great asset for anyone that's looking for it.
Well, I'm going to get on this camera because I want to be a part of this because I got something to say. Thank you for serving.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you for serving.
Thank you, sir.
Well, this has been a phenomenal experience. I want to congratulate you and everybody that's associated with this organization, all the partners, Central Georgia Tech, the city, the county, everybody. It's absolutely phenomenal. Now, in the event that an individual wants to know more about how to be involved in this program, what should they do?
Well, they should give us a call at 1-478-218-3900. That's our main number.
Okay.
They can get on our website, which is www.gavectr, so Veterans Education Career Transition Resource, and then .org, or they can email us at info@gavectr.org.
This is a call to action.
It's a call to action.
I'm your host, Alex Habersham, here in the HVAC Center, Training Center for VECTR. And again, I want to congratulate you. I want to thank you. And if, in fact, there's a veteran out there, Colonel Ross and I want you to know that help is available, and all you need to do is make the move to call, as evidenced by those two young men that we interviewed. This is a call to action.
A call to action.
I'm your host, Alex Habersham. Have a great day.